You are now listening to the Community Proud Podcast.
All right. Welcome, everybody, to episode 28 of the Community Proud Podcast. I have Chavo Quintana here with Unique Mobile Bartending. Shout out to Kendall behind the camera right now for letting us use his space once again. And thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, man. Thank you.
It's a pleasure. So I'll take you through a little bit of what we do, and we'll just get started. So mainly we have like a beginning, a middle, and an end. The beginning is like what, your life, like if you have any kids, your family, your family that you grew up with and your family now. And then that leads into how you got into what you're doing right now. And you can talk about your real job if you want it. And then at the end, we kind of do like a life lesson thing where we give it back to the audience and we go, hey, if they want to do this sort of thing, what are some of the things that they need to watch out for? What are some of the things that you've learned and might have failed at and learned from as well?
Gotcha.
That sound good?
Yeah.
So let's start with a warm-up question. I wrote a few questions down here as well. And I'll start with, what's your favorite drink?
Ooh, my favorite drink. It's probably the one I've never made before. I love experimenting and trying new things. That's me, so I would definitely say something I've never made. So like, let's just say you hit me with hey, make me something special. I would come at you like flavor profiles, colors and stuff like that, and then just go from there.
Okay. So I'm not too experienced with this whole thing. I'm only 20. But have you ever had can you give me an example of someone that's done that to you before?
Yeah. So, I get a customer or a client comes up and like, hey, I want something strong but sweet, something you're not going to really taste the alcohol.
Okay. Perfect.
No problem. So I'll just grab a few bottles, and of course some sweeteners and liqueurs, and then just go from there. I've been doing this a long time, so I kind of know what blends well together. But at the same time, I totally understand that I'm not going to win them over on the first one. You know what I mean? It's a lot of trial and error.
Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and get started now with your early life. Where are you from? Where'd you grow up?
Born and raised here in Visalia, California. Graduated from Redwood in '99. Have 3 older brothers, 2 sisters, and 2 stepsisters, and a stepbrother.
Okay, so in between of all of them, where do you fall?
I am the youngest of the 5 of us. I'm the youngest boy, and then I have a younger sister.
Wow.
So I'm the youngest, I guess, yeah.
Okay, so out of all that experience being the youngest sibling, out of all of them, almost the youngest sibling, what are some of the things you learned from your older siblings?
How to get away with things with my parents, as my older brothers, would attempt to do things and got in trouble with, I would just kind of like, all right, so now it's my turn, I know not to do that, or just try to get away with little things here and there. But at the same time, being the youngest, I did already get away with some stuff. Parents tend to cater towards the younger ones, when the older ones are like in their teenage years and stuff.
Yeah, definitely. I'm the youngest out of 4 other siblings, so I definitely know how that is as well. So were your siblings the type of siblings to like, if you did something, let's try to get him in trouble, or let's try to help him out and avoid him getting in trouble?
Nah, depending, I guess, on the situation. There were times where, they would throw me under the bus or point the blame at me just so they would avoid getting in trouble.
Yeah.
And I mean, being the youngest one, you don't know any better. You just kind of, what do you talk? Okay, yeah, you know what I mean? And then you just take it. And then, later on they're, laughing and pointing at you, sucker. You know what I mean? Like I was, I guess, the scapegoat, Yeah.
Yeah. Do you feel like even from way back then that's made you maybe like a tougher person today?
Yeah. It's definitely taught me a lot, not just to take whatever somebody says or says about you or towards you, you know what I mean? Just kind of, if there's a way to not be aggressive, but, like stand your ground, like, wait, hold on, like I didn't do that, or, it's not how it happened type of thing,
Okay. And you said you went to Redwood, right?
Yep.
What were some of the things that you were doing in high school?
In high school, honestly, I didn't really like school, I went though, and I was in my sophomore year. I did cross country. It's probably the only sport I did. I really didn't have the grades after that to do like any other sports. So I mean, I just went to school, did my thing, graduated, And yeah, I made it.
Yeah,
I did it.
for sure. While you were younger, maybe in high school or even younger than that, or maybe even a little bit after that, were there any other things that you were interested in before what you do now?
Yeah, I played soccer for the city. Again, never for the school, but we played for the city with my brother. We did a co-ed team.
Okay.
We're into like bikes and stuff, beach cruisers, lowriders and stuff like that. BMX bikes, like we all went through, or we all went through those little fads and stuff growing up. Working on the bikes in the garage, they'd get flat. One of my older brothers, he was the guy, man. Like my bike would get flat or something was wrong with it. Hey, Ronnie, and boom, he had it. We're back on the bikes, riding around the block and stuff like that.
Shout out to Ronnie.
Right? Yeah.
That's awesome. So, before what you're doing now, once again, was there anything else that you thought you'd come out to be, like career-wise?
Yeah, honestly, I wanted to get into construction.
Okay.
My grandpa was a cabinet maker for years here in town. And I was just always fascinated, like working with your hands and doing things, and so that was their original plan, was to be like a carpenter or something like that. But for whatever reason, it didn't work out. I mean, I still feel like I'm working with my hands, making drinks and stuff like that. So not too far from it, but yes and no type of thing. I'm still doing something that I love.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see. I had a question. I forgot it. Forgot another question. Let me think real quick. Okay, so during the time, I feel it's a little weird that when you're, I don't know what age, but I've definitely thought about being like some sort of bartender before, just like to do something for now. And I feel like it's a little weird to think about that while you're underage. Like I thought about it probably 18 to 20-ish now. Was that the time that you were thinking about maybe becoming a bartender, or what led you to?
No, I had no intentions of being a bartender.
Okay.
So my restaurant life started when I was 16 years old. I started working at the Depot restaurant.
Okay.
Started washing dishes, worked my way out, went to busser, bar backing, and that's where I was at, bar backing. I would say like late 90s, early 2000s. Bar backing. I don't even think I was 21 when I first started bartending, but one of the bartenders called in sick, and I had already been bar backing for a few months, maybe a year. Had a stack of notes, my cheat sheet, that I write recipes down and whatnot.
Yeah.
But yeah, he called in sick, and the boss comes in and says, "Hey, you're up." And I'm like, "What do you mean I'm up?" He's like, "You're taking the dining room side." So that's where I started, man. The tickets coming out and me thumbing through my little cheat sheet, my notebook, margarita, strawberry daiquiri. And that's where it all started, and I feel like I instantly fell in love with it, because I mean I've done serving and all that good stuff. I'd rather do bartending over serving tables any day, but you have people that are the opposite. They'd rather serve tables,
Yeah.
They're like, so when in the restaurant business, you get cross trained a lot to serve and bartend and cocktail and all that good stuff. I just always loved bartending.
Is it just because of the people aspect?
I think it's I'm a people person. Growing up, my aunt, we would walk downtown, and she says that I would wave and say hi to everybody that walked by.
Really?
So, to my earliest memory, I mean, I've always been able to talk to people and say hi or engage in a conversation, no problem.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Because you see a lot of kids. I feel like kids are like either really shy or really outgoing. I don't think there's really in between for some reason.
Yeah, like my son, he's the complete opposite of me.
Yeah.
He's 10 now. He's super shy. You tell, like, we walk in, it's like, "Hey, say hi," and like, he'll hide behind me or his mom or whatever. Like it's crazy. It's like I was never like that.
Yeah, it's funny. I have a girlfriend, and I bring her home sometimes. Just spend time with my family. Shout out to my girlfriend, by the way. And I live with my brother, and he has my niece and my nephew there, his kids. And it's funny because my niece, at first, she was very outgoing with her. Oh, I mean, they're used to her now, but she was very outgoing with her and everything like that. My nephew, he was like very shy at first. He would go in his room or just be like, oh hey, even though he's like totally crazy without her there.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's pretty crazy with her there anyway. But I mean, that's just an example of one kid being one side and another kid being the other side.
No, yeah, and you see it a lot, even like with my nieces and nephews, there's some that are outgoing and they're real quick to say hello to anybody and everybody, and then there's some of them that they're just shy. They gotta be told, like, hey, go say hi or go shake his hand, or you know what I mean, like, like acknowledge him, But yeah, I've really never had that issue.
I mean, that's good. I mean,
it's helped me out,
Yeah, for sure. So during that experience where you just kind of went, like, were thrown out there into the, I don't know, what do you call that? Thrown out there into the fire, I guess. Yeah. What was your attitude at that time? You're pretty young.
Scared, man. Scared, nervous, just afraid, you're gonna mess drinks up. And even to this day, like, I still have this mentality, like, you mess something up that costs something, not to me, but to the business, so even at a young age, I would always like, oh man, that I just cost the business something. Like, is that going to come out of my check? Is that going to come out of my tips? Or, you know what I mean? Like, I just always have that mentality. So it was really, I from a very young age of bartending, like, it was a thing for me. Like, I got to get this. Like, and I mean, don't get me wrong, I still mess up today. We all do. We all have mistakes or things happen, but it's always a part of me. Like, I'm always thinking that, like, oh man, there's $2, on a drink that just got wasted. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I want to get a little bit into the actual name of the business, Unique Mobile Bartending. I wrote the question down earlier. What makes Unique Mobile Bartending unique?
So for me, I think it's just the value that I bring to any event, and whether it's a small little backyard party, 20, 30, 40 people, or it's this big wedding, 300 to 400 people, right. You're gonna get 110% from me, and me being in the industry of mobile bartending, I hear stories like, oh, this guy said he was gonna do this and they didn't execute. So this is the industry that I'm in and I love it, right? So I do everything I can in my power to succeed and make it a good thing, So there's going to be those people that are going to mess things up for us, but at the same time, there's a lot of people like me that have that passion, right. And they try to make up for that, And a lot of people are like, well, you don't have to make up for them. That's them. But at the same time, we're in the same industry, so it's like we have the same job in a sense, Okay. But yeah, from like whether it's a craft cocktail or just a vodka cranberry, and then just knowing the vast drinks that are out there. And I mean, the thing is now is there's so many drinks and new drinks come out all the time, and just trying to keep up with it, you know, because if you don't, you just get left behind.
Okay. Tell me about an insane bartending story, whether it's a crazy customer or just something that happened behind the bar, that something insane happened.
Ooh. So this was my nightclub days. I was working at Crawdaddy's, second floor. It's a busy Saturday night, and just like Kendall said earlier, like the number one name you get called is "Hey you."
Yeah.
And us as bartenders, like, we tend to block that stuff out. Right. Like we have selective hearing sometimes, you know. So you hear it, you just ignore it. And this girl just kept on and kept on and kept on. I just kept ignoring her. And I told her politely, like, hey, my name is Chavo. If you need something, let me know. Yeah. And she's like, okay, cool. Hey, you. And I didn't get her a drink. And she ended up getting another drink from another bartender, a beer. She came and threw it on me. Like, she was that mad. And at the end, at the time, I was heated. Right. I was super heated. But, like, now that I think back, I was like, she wasted $4 on a beer to throw on me. Like, I had the last laugh. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I was super heated that night. And, like, you know, it's busy. We're 4 deep at the bar, and everybody sees that. And, of course, everybody laughs and stuff. And I'm just like, really? Like, that just happened? Like, I'd never had that happen until then, you know? But, yeah, that would probably be it. You know, being called hey you or ignoring somebody for being rude. Right. You know? And I get a beer tossed on me. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah. My thing, too, was like, oh, man, if I get pulled over, the cop's like, oh, do you stink like beer? Like, no, man, no, officer, I'm a bartender. You know what I mean? Like, I was just thinking worst case scenario type of thing. Yeah. But, yeah, that I would have to say, that was probably one of the craziest things that's ever happened.
How old are you then?
This was probably 6 years ago. So probably like 36, 37-ish.
Okay.
No, probably like 30. I don't know. It's been a while.
Well, that reminds me of a story, or not a story, but do you know Gary Vee?
I see these things come up on
Instagram and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So he talks about sometimes if someone comments like something mean on a post that he does, or anybody, the person that commented is the one, just like you said, is the one that actually lost something, because they took the time out of their own day just to comment that, and they're the one that lost, that time, the energy, just to be ignored. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. No, I feel the same way, like with people that'll share like bad or negative things. Like, I'm like, what? You're actually helping the cause because you're sharing that. You know what I mean? Like, so it's kind of in the sense, kind of the same thing. Like you lost because you took the time and energy to go out of your way to say something rude or negative about something you probably don't even know anything about.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
like, I don't like getting political, so I guess I won't talk about that. But just people, like you said, just sharing anything negative, what they think is negative, what they say is negative. It's just not, one, it's not necessarily negative to another person, but two, it's just like you said, it's just wasted time, and like, it just starts a whole bunch of drama.
No, yeah. At the end of the day, we all have our views and things. So I mean, just because you don't like something doesn't mean that I'm gonna like it, and vice versa. You know what I mean? And it's just funny that people feel they have to go out of their way to do stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Now that I'm older, I realize that. But
so I want to talk about you transitioning from being a bartender at like a bar and a restaurant to what you do now.
Okay.
So what made you want to make that transition to, like I said, being that bartender to owning your own business? Yeah.
So to be honest, I don't remember if somebody like needed a bartender for like a wedding or a party, or somebody had mentioned it to me. But I just went out, I threw it out there on Craigslist.
Really?
I threw it out there on Craigslist. The ad sat there probably, I don't know, like a month or two, maybe even longer. And the next thing you know, I had an email, right? And I'm just like, whoa, I got an email, like, and like I was super happy. Like I didn't even book it yet. I was just happy that somebody like replied to my ad.
Yeah.
And we went back and forth. We exchanged numbers, and we talked. I was working at Applebee's at the time, and I had them come down. I invited them for drinks. So they came down and had drinks, and we talked the next day and booked the wedding. That was a birthday. It was a birthday party, and that was my first gig. That was back in 2012.
Okay. And what happened after that? Like what?
So I went, I did it, and it was cool. It was fun. I liked it. I mean, it was everything I like to do. I was already working at a restaurant, bartending, right?
Yeah. Of
course, getting paid, right? But now I'm over here doing this on the side, and like getting paid a little extra,
right?
And I had fun doing it, So then I threw out another ad, and from there, working that one, I want to say I booked like 2 or 3 events, or got leads anyways, and then booked them later from the person's family. And I ended up for like 2 years doing little things, events for that family. And to this day, we still talk and communicate. I have them on Facebook and Instagram and stuff like that. They're always doing stuff, and I always just let them know if they ever need anything. I'm still here doing my thing, slinging them drinks.
Yeah. Shout out to them for giving you your first break, man.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. When did you decide like to make that from a side gig to like, okay, this is a brand now. This is Unique Mobile Bartending. This is what we're gonna do.
I would probably say within the last 2 to 3 years, because it was like off and on, booking events and really like throwing it out there that I'm available for these things.
Yeah.
But like just like I said, like it's evolving. And there's more and more people doing it now. And then like with social media, like Facebook, there's all these different groups you can be a part of from literally all over the world, right?
Right.
And meeting people that do the same thing you do, that have that same passion. And it was more of comparing notes type of thing. And it just kind of like lit that fire again. Like, man, I want to do this. I see these people out there doing it, and being successful at it. I was like, I can still do it, and now that I got out of the bartending, like at a restaurant, it's been like 7 years. So once I got out of that, I had more time weekends, you know, because anytime any restaurant, anybody that works in a restaurant, you're working weekends. You never have weekends off, right? So before I stopped, I was thinking like, okay, in order for me to do this, I have to charge accordingly, because I'm not gonna take a busy Friday or Saturday night off to go bartend this event and not make at least the same amount of money or more that I'm gonna make here. Like that just doesn't make sense. So it was just trial and error, you know, trying to put these numbers together and make them work, you know, for like a client that, you know, they're comfortable paying to have me come out and make some drinks for them.
Okay. I want to talk about, this is going to lead into our last part of the interview, which is like giving it back to the audience if they, you know, want to do what you do, sort of thing. My first question leading that off is, what are some common misconceptions people have about bartending? That
it's easy.
Okay.
That it's just mixing a liquor and a mixer, or you know what I mean. It's more to that. It's more to that. Don't get me wrong. There's people that are doing it just to get by, you know, that are going to school, and that's cool, I guess. But it's super hard, man. Like there's a lot involved. It's in a sense, it's a science, you know, to a well mixed drinks. You know, I would get people like, hey, hook it up, you know, and to them they're wanting a strong drink. Yeah. To me, it's a well balanced drink. Right. You know, making sure it's got that right ratio. But it's tough, you know. If just going into it, I would say try to find a bar job, a bartending job, or even a bar backing job, you know, for at least a year or so, just to get the basics down. But even like I said, even at that, I'm learning new stuff every day. Like you'll never know it all. Never know it all.
I feel like there's this, along with just getting the perfect drink, like you said, but there's always that aspect of the customer itself. You gotta sort of, I don't know, like maybe entertain them a little bit, or and even just keep a conversation with them, because I feel like any good bartender that I've seen my parents go to, because I've never gone to a bar or anything, they're always very friendly, they're always very charismatic, they're always talking and, you know, shooting the shit a little bit with their customers. Yeah,
you have to be a good people person. You have to have good communication skills. And I'm not saying you need to know everything that's going on in the news, but know some stuff. Just because, I mean, people come in and want to talk sports, right? Or talk whatever's going on, like just current events type of thing, you know? So it's good to keep up with all that good stuff. But more than anything, just be a good people person and know how to communicate with somebody, you know? That plays a real big role, and it goes a long way.
Okay. I was watching a few YouTube videos in preparation for this interview about, I think I just watched interviews with other bartenders, to be completely honest, and one of them said it's a common misconception as well that you have to know like an infinite amount of drinks in order to be a bartender. I just want to hear your thoughts on that. Do they need to know just like basic drinks, or just like that and a little bit more, or what would you say?
I would say it's a lot of basics and maybe a little more, just because drinks change names from town to town, right? Or from bar to bar. I used to get a lot, hey, I had this drink at Double L, you know, like make it for me. Well, that was their signature drink, right? Yeah. And when these locations have their signature drinks, that's their drink. A lot of times they don't give recipes out, or they may give you the recipe, just not in full detail. But so for instance too, like where drinks change names, like out here we have what's called the Beatlemania. So it's a shot of Crown, float of peach schnapps, you drop it in Red Bull. In Vegas, that's called a Vegas bomb. But then they add Malibu to it. You know what I mean? So it's just a variation of something we already do out here. You know, same thing like a vodka cranberry, right? Everybody knows that as a vodka cranberry. Well, it's a Cape Cod, is the original name for that. Okay. And it's just a vodka cranberry. So like when I'll do menus sometimes and I'll put like Cape Cod on there, or salty dog, and people are like, whoa, what's that? You know, it's a vodka cranberry or a vodka grapefruit with a salted rim. You know what I mean? Like, that's interesting. And those are just like the basics of it, but they evolve from there. That's where it all starts. And from there, you know, you run with it, you know?
Do you know any of the, and this is kind of like a a little bit of an off-topic question, I guess, but I want to go back to what you said about them changing names. Do you know why or how they changed names from like the original like Cape Cod, like you said, to your kind of like a regular name?
I just think it's just the area you're in. So like Cape Cod originated out on the East Coast. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And that's where that name came from. And then just anymore, it's just so easier. Just let me get a vodka cran. You know what I mean? And people tend to forget of like the roots of those drinks and the original names and where they came from. But a lot of it, I think, just has to do with the area you're in and where you're from. They just call it whatever, you know.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to change names. I do that a lot for like events. Tell them we can come up with some drinks and we can change it. We could change a drink for your special event. It kind of caters to them a little more. You know what I mean? So we do that a lot.
Okay. So would an example be like if someone was having a wedding and you like name a drink after the groom and bride or something like that? Yeah, or just call it like the bow tie or the bride Bellini, you know what I mean? And it's probably just like the sex on the beach. But for them, they want to switch it up for that day. You know what I mean? Okay, yeah.
So, and it's just a little more personable.
Yeah.
And it's something that they don't think about, you know, because to them, they're just like, oh, I want this drink. I had it here, and this is what it was called. I'm like, cool, but we're going to call it this for your wedding. You know what I mean? And people like that. Whether it's a wedding or a birthday party or anything, you know, we switch it up for that day for them, and they love it. You know, it's just it's unique to them. You know?
Yeah, I totally agree with that. I was just thinking like that is unique, and it takes like not like that whole extra mile, but it's just a little something like I guess you can say like a few extra steps you can say to make it more special for that occasion for those people. And
sometimes you could even go a step further and sub out something that's supposed to be in it for something else. So that way it kind of changes it completely. So you're not really like stealing a name or stealing a drink type of thing, you know. And then at the same time, again, it's just more personable to them, to their flavor profile.
Right. Okay. I had a question too. I said that. I totally got it. Okay. I want to talk about if someone is getting started in bartending, what are some of the things that they might need to watch out for? And yeah, I guess what are some of the things that they would just need to watch out for?
Not necessarily watch out for, but look into is the liquor laws.
Okay.
Every state is different. So I'm in a couple different Facebook groups, and everybody's always asking these questions like, hey, this person wants me to provide this. Well, here in the state of California, I can't bring liquor to an event. It's just the law. The ABC says I can't do that. I can't provide that. So my clients provide all the liquor, but I make them a shopping list, you know. So just look into all the laws. And I would strongly suggest is to reach out to people, you know. I know there are some people out there that don't want to like to share things because they see like, oh, this is another mobile bartender, like competition, right? Me, I encourage it, man. I wish there was somebody out there when I started that I can look to and ask questions, like for guidance or something, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's tough learning all these things as you go, you know, and the laws change every year, you know, from city to city, state to state. And so like I do a lot of stuff just here in the Central Valley, but there's sometimes people will like contact me to do something like let's say at the coast or something. Well, I got to look into those venues to see what those requirements are for them, or if they even allow a mobile bartender on premises.
Right.
You know, and I do that a lot here too. That's just part of my homework. You know, because you could hire me like, hey, I'm having this party. We're going to be at the Bella Vita, right? All right, cool, let's do this. We show up the day of, and for whatever reason, I don't have my certifications, or I don't have my food handlers, I don't have this, or I don't have something that they're requiring me to have. Now, you don't have a bartender, and it's the day of. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, again, I would just strongly recommend just looking into everything and just try to get it all dialed in. And ask questions, man. Reach out to people. You might find people that are going to shut you down, but you're going to find that one person that's willing to help.
Yeah. I like what you said about everybody helping each other out and the Facebook groups and everything like that. When I first started this podcast, community proud, that's kind of what it's all about. I wanted to give local businesses just like yours and QR Media over here another platform to tell their stories on. And when you come on here and say, oh yeah, we also do the same thing and we help each other out in the bartending community. I'm like, man, that's what we're all about.
Yeah.
Community.
No, absolutely. I love it, man. I love it. Anytime and I encourage my clients to, even if you don't book me, don't hesitate to reach out. Like I said in the beginning, this is the industry I'm in, and I love it, and I have a passion for it. So let's say you hire another bartender, right? And for whatever reason, you just get this weird vibe, like, hey, this doesn't sound right. Hit me up, call me.
Yeah.
Shoot me a message or something, like, hey, this is what's going on. I don't feel right. And if I have an answer, I'll help you out in any way I can. Just because I don't have your business doesn't mean I'm not there to help. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, those little things like that go a long way,
Yeah.
So it's just, again, the community, it's all about helping out where you can and when you can.
Okay. So in the next maybe 5 to 10 years, where do you see yourself and your business at?
Oh, wow. To be honest, I'm not sure, man. I'm more of a day-to-day type of person. I don't really plan things out that far in advance. I know I'm still going to be doing it for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, if I had something to say, probably just to be busier.
Yeah.
And maybe eventually, like, it be my full-time job. There's a lot of people that go out and do it. It's scary though. I mean, I've thought about it. It's just scary, when you got a wife and kids and stuff going on at home. And I personally, I just can't do it right now. But that doesn't say it's not going to happen in 5 to 10 years.
Of course.
Yeah. Just keep shooting for those stars, man, and hopefully one day it'll happen.
Yeah, just keep going day by day, just like you said.
No, yeah, and until then, it's just day to day. And if I get those emails, those phone calls, those DMs, and I book them, I book them. If I don't, I mean, it is what it is,
Yeah. We're gonna start wrapping things up here. There's a particular question I like asking. I've asked it ever since I think maybe the 10th episode. Is how or who do you want to be remembered as?
Wow. Not sure I have an answer for that. How or who do I want to be remembered as? Just a cool guy, man. Just somebody you can go and talk to and have me make you a drink. Let me make you a cocktail, and we'll shoot the shit.
Yeah, for sure. One more question I want to ask. Okay, I called this the billboard question. I think I got it from another podcaster. But if you had a billboard for 30 days and you could put whatever you want on it to advertise to the world, I mean, besides your brand, I mean, if you want to put your brand on there, that's cool. But what would you tell everybody to do on that billboard, or what would be on that billboard?
Wow, man, getting deep with these questions.
We do like to get deep.
Yeah. Man. Probably just to keep going, keep pushing, no matter what life throws at you, just keep going. They're just roadblocks or speed bumps in life, and just get over it, keep going, don't look back.
That's awesome. So this is the last thing. This is basically your podcast now. You can say or do whatever you want. But I like to give this opportunity as well for the guests to shout themselves out, if like on social media or something like that. Yeah,
so you guys can reach me all across social media, Facebook, Instagram. I also have a Google page, Unique Mobile Bartending. That's where I'm at. Email is the same thing, uniquemobilebartending@gmail.com. Don't hesitate to reach out with any questions bar related. I'm here to help you guys.
That's awesome. Is there anything I might have missed that you want to add?
No, man, it was great. It was awesome. I was nervous coming into it, but it was fun.
Yeah, you get used to that after 28 episodes, but you did good. You did really good.
Awesome, man. Thanks.
I appreciate it so much, Chavo. Shout out to Kendo once again for letting us use the space. Thank you guys so much for watching this episode, and we'll see you in episode 29 on the Community Proud Podcast. Okay, man.
This was episode 28 of the Community Proud Podcast.
Alrighty, guys. So what we're gonna start off here with is, let me just break this up real quick. Start off with a Cape Cod. If I don't lose my eyes. So Cape Cod, essentially, just like I said earlier, it's the vodka cranberry. Super simple drink, pretty popular drink as well. We'll be pouring some Tito's. So what we use here is a jigger. These are optional. A lot of restaurants and bars, like, they're mandatory to use. I just base it off the client if they're wanting to watch their pouring. Oh, well, I guess we're gonna switch it up. That's not cranberry, that's OJ. So vodka OJ screwdriver. This I just read something on the other day. This originated was they were pouring vodka and OJ. They didn't have anything to stir it with, so they were using screwdrivers. It was I believe they said it was mine workers, so they were using screwdrivers to stir these up. So that's how this name came about, the screwdriver.
Could I ask a question?
Yeah.
If you want to do any sort of twist to a screwdriver, what would you do personally?
I would add a little peach schnapps to it, just to switch up the flavor profile. Just because, I mean, it's vodka and OJ. Mm-hmm. Some people want something like that, but a little sweeter. Mm-hmm. So you could either throw like some peach schnapps, or I have some homemade simple syrup, which is essentially sugar water, just to sweeten it up. Especially like with the ladies, they're all about sweet and fruity.
Right.
So I might throw like some simple syrup, maybe a little grenadine. To add that red, it'll turn it like pinkish color. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just to switch it up a little bit. Oh, here's a good one. This one, I think it was called the original name for this one was called like a lunchbox back in the day. And this is normally like a drop shot, but we make them as drinks as well. And then I made this one for my buddy Scoops, Alex Diamonds from Assuries. I bartended for him, and we called it the Scoops. There it is. So it's basically just Captain Morgan and OJ. Oh, cranberry. I'm just all off today. So we'll do that one there. But so that the Captain and OJ, it tastes just like a 50-50 bar. So, or like an Orange Julius or an Orange Sickle, you know, tastes just like it. So I remember back in the day when I used to drink, we would go downtown and pound lots of these shots, man. And because they're sweet and you don't really taste them, they go down smooth. Just want to make sure I'm grabbing the right one. But yeah, again, this one I think was called the Lunchbox originally, but we've renamed it for my boy Alex. And then, I mean, you would garnish these. So vodka cranberry would get a lime on it, screwdriver, a lime and a cherry. The 50-50, you could probably put an orange peel on it or something, you know, just to doll them up a little bit. You guys ready for a cocktail? Kendall ready for a cocktail?
I think Dustin's ready for a mocktail.
I think
Dustin's ready for a mocktail.
Let's get a mocktail.
Let's get a mocktail going.
A mocktail.
So what's the number one mocktail that you make?
So I keep it simple. When we do little like house parties, I'll just do like a cranberry and OJ mix, right?
Delicious.
And then I'll top it off with a little bit of simple syrup, just to give it a little more sweetness. And then this, I would probably garnish it with like an orange, just to add contrast to the color, you know. That's what you do. Well, that's what I like doing with cocktails.
There's your mocktail, Dustin.
There it is,
grab
buddy.
it.
Thank you so much. It's delicious. It's delicious, refreshing.
All right, Dustin, get in here and send us off.
All right. How would I send this off?
Whatever, just come on, have fun with it.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the drink. It's refreshing. Obviously, you're very good at this. It was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you, man. I had fun. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, no problem. And thank you so much for watching. This is Community Proud Podcast, and we'll see you in episode 29.